guns and podcast microphones are the same thing, actually.
Yeah, the connectors are the same,
Pew pew.
Yeah.
Books, 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 books.
Hello and welcome to Didn't Read It, the podcast that remembers how podcasts work and also the existence of Chaucer. I am your host, Grace Todd. We're back after a little bit of a midwinter hiatus, but spring is on the horizon. It's the horny month, and here to be horny with me, bestie of the pod, Chaucerian gal about town, Tony. Hi,
Hello.
baby.
I'm realizing I'm like such an anti-Valentine's Day person that for a second I was like, why is it the horny month?
I watched you make a face. I said horny month, and I watched you be like, is it? When
Should I be?
I feel like if you're doing it right, every month is the horny month. You should have been like, yes, this horny month, like next horny month, and all the horny months beyond it.
Yeah, no, I'm getting ready to go out and do some squirrel hunting this evening because it's finally warm for the first time in like forever.
Yay.
And I was like in the park yesterday while my daughter was at her like art club and watching all the squirrels run around in the park, which is not where I hunt. Like, that's I'm not just like in the park, just like a mad woman, just like shooting squirrels in the park. I was watching the squirrels though, and it's like they're like, it's warm, it's time to fuck because it's the squirrel rut right now. So they're just like, there's this like family with their baby, and they're like, oh look, they're running around, they're chasing, they're playing, and it's like they're not playing, baby, they're
I mean, in the animal kingdom, like 98% of the time when you're like, they're playing, it's fun. But I mean, for humans after puberty, what is playing if not either f***ing or an overture towards fun?
I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that because I am like that person. There's that meme that's like, oh my god, if a trans woman invites you over for board game night, be careful. It is not a euphemism for sex. She is going to make you spend 8 hours playing a game called Fields of Glory, and it's like that. That is me. And I'm actually underestimating how long Fields of Glory takes place. I think the last time I played that game, it took a friend and I 16 hours across 2 weekends. Like look, if I ask you to come play with me, like we are not, you are going to listen to me read a rule book for 45 minutes and then we're going to play a game for 12 hours and you're going to lose.
And is that not what separates man from beast?
Yes, yeah, exactly. The ability to play board games that make your wife hate you just a little bit.
I mean, yeah, honestly. Well, speaking of spouses and them hating us, and I don't know what that transition was, but we're going to keep going. We're here. We're together. We've been on hiatus and now we're not. And so was Geoffrey Chaucer.
Yes, yeah. He's been on a hiatus for some 600 years, but we expect him to be back
Any day now. The second coming will actually just be Geoffrey Chaucer. Never mind. It won't be Jesus. It won't even be one of like the other canonical English authors. It will be just Chaucer stumbling half drunk with his barrels of wine out of the ether.
Yeah, they say in England's moment of greatest need, Chaucer will return to finally finish the tale of Sir Topus.
Chaucer will return with the fart joke to save us all. So what's going to happen when they finally abolish the monarchy? It will revive Chaucer from the dead.
Yes. God.
Anyway, Tony, what are we here to talk about today?
We're here to talk about Fragment 6 of the Canterbury Tales.
Wow.
Which I know I said last time that Fragment 5 is probably my favorite, and that's probably still true, but Fragment 6 includes my favorite of the pilgrims. So fragment 6 is the physician's tale and the pardoner's tale. And the physician is boring. We'll get into why he's boring. The pardoner, though, we stand, right? Like we stand a problematic queen.
Ooh.
So, like the other fragments, right? We've got that, like, what makes it a fragment? It's because there's internal evidence that links them, and then there's nothing that like links them to anything else. We have an excipit to the physician's tale. That's what tells us it's the physician's tale, because at the end it's like, here endeth the physician's tale. And
You're like,
then
thank
we've
you.
got,
Good.
yeah, good. I mean, it's the physician's tale. You'll be happy when it ends. It's short, thankfully. We're gonna read the whole thing. This is now actually just an hour of me reading Middle English directly to you. Enjoy, listeners.
Honestly, very romantic, super appropriate for Valentine's Day. Just
Yeah.
find the horniest part of the Canterbury Tales and we'll record you reading it at the end, and I'll just post that by itself as like a little love letter for our listeners.
In my like sexiest possible Diane Reading voice.
Yes, exactly. Oh no.
That woman, her voice did something to me as a youth, as a young lass. So yeah,
in the
we've got,
backseat of our parents' cars. Yes.
We've got the physician's tale, just tells us it's the physician's tale at the end, and then the partner's tale is like introduced as like a palate cleanser. We'll talk about the transition is quite funny. And so this is a fragment. It's going to continue many of the themes that are probably now familiar to our loyal listeners. Thank you for tuning in. It engages with like Chaucer's classicism and his intertextuality and his misogyny and the way that he constructs women, and some of that, like we talked about, like the Friar's Tale and the Summoner's Tale, that like simmering critique of the like bureaucratic structures of the church that like have at times seen Chaucer associated with the Lollards and with the Plowman tradition and with all of these sort of like weird proto-Protestant like critiques of the church in like English religious thought. So,
yes. Because that church.
yeah. But I mean,
But not really.
church good, bureaucracy bad, right? Like,
Yes.
the parson, Chaucer loves the parson. The plowman, Chaucer loves the plowman. All the sort of like homely, humble, like good religious men, they're good. It's the bureaucrats.
Right. We love the president. It's the government bureaucracy that is bad and should be disassembled.
Exactly. Drain the swamp, says Chaucer.
Draineth the church swamp. Okay. Anyway.
So the fragment starts with the physician's tale. This is a tale that doesn't have a prologue, unlike a lot of them. It just goes straight into the tale. So it means that the physician is one of the less fleshed out characters, right? Like the wife of Bath is the wife of Bath because like her prologue is longer than her tale. We know so much about her because she talks about her 5 husbands and how horny she is and whatnot. All we really have of the physician is the description from the general prologue, which is like 20 lines, but it's very formulaic. Like it's just like, he's a doctor of medicine. His learning is classical. He's read Galen. He's read Asclepius. He's read Hippocrates. He's good at diagnosing and he's good at mixing medicine, and he's moderate in his tempers and he's healthy in his practices. He eats well. He doesn't drink a lot. Blah blah blah. It's very like boring,
but respectable. He's a good doctor, not a bad doctor.
Exactly. Like the only like maybe little barb at him is there's this suggestion like that he's maybe a bit profit driven, he's maybe a bit of a miser. There's this sort of like joke about how he loves gold, but with the justification that gold is good medicine for the heart. It's
Okay.
actually true, right? Like older like heart medications are gold based. There's don't ask why this is in my head, but like there's a whole episode of House where like the big reveal is that the woman's like poisoning her husband with like old gold based heart medications. Like
Huh.
it is good for certain heart things. It's just bad for just about everything else about you, which is why we switched to like digitalis and all of that.
Right, because it is a metal at the end of the day, and you're only
A
supposed to eat a
heavy
little
one
bit of some of those
as a treat.
as a treat. And that's why I chew on spare change every morning.
Exactly. The iron supplements, who needs? You know, just a little I lick the rust off the grill out in the back.
Just tonguing a Weber.
That was the name of my my memoir actually. So the the physician's tale is also pretty short. It's only like 300 lines. It's one of the shortest tales in the Canterbury Tales, and especially it's one of the shortest complete tales. It is a retelling of a story of the story of Virginia, from Livy's Ab Urbe Condita, which like often gets translated as like the history of Rome, but Ab Urbe Condita, for anyone who studied Latin, may remember literally means from the founding of the city. It's actually like how Rome tracked time in the same way that we do AD and AD, yeah, AD and BC.
Yeah.
I know time periods. I was like AC, BD, BV.
Romantic.
Exactly. Happy February. Tell your boyfriend to wash his dick.
And make sure you clean your sex toys.
so, um, so it's a story from Livy's Ab Urbe Condita. Chaucer presents it as being a true story, which Livy had done as well. Chaucer says that it is no fable, but known for historical thing notable. The sentence of its sooth is out of doubt. So you know it's not a fable. It is a known and important historical event, and the truth of it is known without a doubt. Now, as you can imagine, the proclamation that something is a known historical fact is not a proof of that, and this is a story that is probably like pseudo or semi-historical at best. It's something that's highly propagandic. It's something that Livy wrote, like it was written during the reign of Augustus. It's written at a point in which Rome is deeply invested in authoring its history as like a great, you know, nation. It's written at a point where like they're trying to balance these two things of like simultaneously lionizing the republic and also promoting this like great man version of Roman history necessary for the like nascent position of the emperor to, you know, survive, right? Because
Right.
ostensibly, at least in the early history of the Roman Empire, right, like the emperor is princeps. He's the first citizen. He is merely a servant of the republic. And there's this like long maintained pretense that the republic still exists. And the republic, we are a republic. We've always been a republic. You know, this one guy is just the most republican of the republic.
Gosh, that doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot that sounds familiar in this, and maybe a happy ending.
Oh.
It's important to note that it's unclear whether Chaucie had ever
Let's just
read
start calling him
Rivers.
It's very You know what? I feel like we're close enough with him now. We can get away with it.
Good
Our
old
buddy
Jeff
Chaucie. That's very English. They love a diminutive, you know. Everything has to become a cutesy tootsy version of itself. So it's just Chaucie.
Chaucie does also sound like the name of like some guy who went to Eton and is like a member of like a dining club at like some Oxbridge college, right? Like, you
Yes.
know,
It's
oh, Chaucie and Papa were speaking the other day.
it's very much just like you read history books where it's like, you know, this an Englishman who personally oversaw the starvation of like thousands of people in India, and it's like parentheses Chaucie to his friends, and you're like, yeah, okay, good.
He's Chaucer to his friends, and the butcher of the Punjab to
Yes.
1,000,000 people in Pakistan.
That's the one.
So, it is unclear whether Chaucie had read Livy's account. Chaucer clearly had read a lot of classical literature. He'd also read a lot of medieval retellings of classical literature. It's the same thing as with Ovid, right? Like how much Chaucer had read Ovid versus how much Chaucer had read the centuries of retellings of Ovid that had come in between. He almost certainly had read Jean de Meun, who is one of the two authors of Le Roman de la Rose, the Romance of the Rose, which is an earlier 13th century text. It was started by Guillaume de Lorry and then finished 20 years later by Jean de Meun. Jean de Meun includes a version of the Tale of Virginia in the Romance of the Rose, and that Chaucer had almost certainly read.
It's so interesting how it's the one book theory, one medieval story theory. There's just four narratives wearing a trench coat pretending to be different stories.
And it continues, right? Because a version of this is retold, a much grimmer version is retold in Titus Andronicus by Shakespeare. It just keeps going. We will also, the retelling of stories and just how funny it gets will be especially funny when we talk about The Pardoner's Tale.
Ooh, all right.
Because The Pardoner's Tale is retold in I promise you will not guess what the retelling of The Pardoner's Tale is.
Oh, I'm so excited. All right.
So, The Physician's Tale is the story of a Roman patrician. Chaucer figures him as being a knight, and this is something that we see, we saw this in The Knight's Tale, right? With the way that Theseus is depicted as, a duke, this medieval reframing of classical stories. But we have a Roman patrician named Virginius, which is going to get annoying and complicated because, of course, we also have Virginia because this is Rome and girls don't get to have their own names.
Sure.
Presumably, this is Virginia Prima because he only has the one daughter. So we have Virginius and we have his beautiful, chaste daughter, Virginia. And it's the story of their interaction with a lecherous magistrate by the name of Appius.
Ooh.
So, solidly the first third of the story is just describing Virginia's beauty, her chastity, and her morality. And to the modern reader, in a second, you're about to be like, well, yeah, she damn well better be chaste, because we are told she is 14 years old.
Oh.
She is 12 and 2, which is this weird hangover of old English's base 12 counting system that persists in weird ways even into modern English.
Weird.
So she's 14 years old. She has hair like Apollo's sunbeams. She's pale and rosy cheeked, And this is very much I was rereading this and I'm like, is maybe a big part of the right wing's obsession with medievalisms and uncritical readings of medieval literature just part and parcel of their intense desire to minors?
It doesn't feel totally off base.
So it may be helpful when listening to this tale to think about this on some level as a story about a lecherous old man in a position of power who likes to sexually assault teenagers, which, when the ending is considered, might give some of our listeners hope for our modern times. But I digress. So we're treated to this description of Virginia's beauty, and then we're told that she is as chaste as she is as wise and chaste as she is beautiful, right? This is, and we've talked about this before, it's that medieval elision of external and internal beauty that just persists through the entire medievalist tradition into fantasy literature, into, Tolkien, like, loves this. She doesn't drink, because she's 14. But 14-year-olds drank in the Middle Ages, you know me well enough to know that 14-year-olds
I was gonna say we knew some 14-year-olds who drank.
Grace is just over giving me this look like, girl.
I remember what we were up to as teenagers.
Yeah, so Virginia is a much better 14-year-old than we were. She doesn't drink. She actually, she makes excuses not to go to parties or events where people are gonna, she doesn't go to kissing parties, right? Like, she doesn't go to drinking parties. She's like, oh, I'm sick, I have to wash my hair.
I'm in honors classes.
Exactly. There's also, there's this really funny, discursion that the physician goes into about, parents and governesses and their role in raising good daughters. And the governess bit is so funny. This, basically, when he's talking about what makes a good governess, he's essentially there are two kinds of women, by the way, who make good governesses: permavirgins and women who lived that hoe life but ain't about that hoe life anymore. It's the comparison that the poem makes is a thief of venison that hath forlaughed his licorousness and all his older craft, can cape a forest best of animan. So a deer poacher who has renounced greed and poaching is the best person to guard a forest, right?
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah, no, I look, solidly half the shit that I tell my daughter not to do is born of bad personal experience, right? She's like, why are you such a helicopter mom? And I'm like, because I did so much dumb shit when I was your age. It is a marvel that I am alive.
You're like, the number of times I should have died as a teenager are baffling, and I was so good at lying to my parents, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's and I'm the cool mom too.
Yes, I know you are not one of those parents who has a bunch of cameras inside the house, because that's
God, no. We were talking about getting a fake ring cam, just because there are studies that show that even a fake ring cam reduces package thefts and stuff. Not that we've never had a package stolen, and I think it's partly because we live in a good neighborhood and our neighbors are really nice. And it's also partly because I do a lot of my crafty work in the garage, and because our neighbors are nice and they'll chat sometimes, they have seen me in there plenty of times cleaning 8 guns or making ammunition. And so it's maybe we don't steal from that one.
No.
But it's mostly our neighbors are very nice.
Yeah.
But even just the idea of a fake ring cam, I'm I don't know, man. Do I wanna contribute to the surveillance state?
No.
I
hate it.
I don't know that I trust them to be fake. That's how bad it is.
Straight up. I have a fake old school security camera on my house, but it's because there was a child in my neighborhood who was stealing the fish out of my pond.
Wild.
I think he wanted, you know how little kids sometimes really glom on to other people's animals?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I think he was trying to take them away to keep them as pets, but I am also assuming that they had to be dying, because there's no way that, because a sub 11-year-old child was stealing them out of my pond in plastic bags.
Oh my God.
So I I confronted him. I was like, "You're stop stealing my fish." But he was also just just enough of a city, a child who lived in a city, that he was basically "F you, police," and got on his scooter and zoomed away. And I and I was like, I, a white lady, am not gonna chase this child down the street, because that's not gonna fly. So
you got full on Dennis the Menace.
I did. So I finally put up a fake security camera because I was like, I feel bad for the fish.
So, yeah, so the best governesses, right? Permavirgins, reformed hoes.
Got it.
Now, Virginia doesn't need a governess, though, right? She is virtuous and prudent and bounteous and lots of weird adjectives. So one day, she's walking through the market or the forum or what, I think it's the forum.
A funny thing happened on the way there.
Yeah. Freaking Mel Brooks ass, like,
I
I'm a
love that movie.
stand-up philosopher. So she's in the forum or whatnot, and she catches the eye of a magistrate named Appius. In Livy, he's Appius Claudius, but that gets confusing because his like co-conspirator is Marcus Claudius, because they didn't have a lot of like names, I guess, in Rome. And so Chaucer just renders like Appius Claudius becomes Appius and Marcus Claudius becomes Claudius. He sees Virginia and he's like, well, I'm a creepy old perv and I simply must have sex with this 14-year-old. But she's so chaste and good, she'll never go for it. And her dad is so noble and perfect that he'd never allow it. So he speaks to a man in his service, Claudius, and they come up with a conspiracy. One day, Claudius comes into Appius's court and he makes an accusation that Virginius has stolen his slave and is passing her off as his daughter.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's insane. And it's very like, I don't know. I'm sure when we get to our like the so what of it all, like there's something to be talked about here, right? About like the whole Chaucer, Cecily Champagne, like, was this rape? Was this a labor dispute? Are women just commodities thing? So he's like, oh yeah, Virginius stole my slave. Virginius is like, first off, I will fight you, bitch. And second off, I've got witnesses. And in spite of that, in spite of his ability to call witnesses and his challenge to, prove his, claim in martial ordeal, Appius immediately is like, no, this man's story, this is credible to me. I'm ruling with him, and you need to hand over your daughter.
So a man in power is misusing the powers of the state to take advantage of an underage girl?
Yeah. Courts that, just kind of ignore the law in order to be like, well, yes, that is the law and that is the body of evidence, but have you considered that we don't want to?
Have you considered you?
Right.
Good. Yes. Carry on.
So, Virginius does what every father in this situation would do. He goes home, he talks to his daughter, he explains the situation. He's like, there's this weird old dude who's come up with a conspiracy to rape you by claiming that you're a slave. And there really are only two choices here. And, like, obviously, we're going to talk about the extent to which there are not just two choices here. But Virginia says there are two choices here.
Is one of them that she has to kill herself?
Not her. She doesn't have to kill herself. There's room for someone else to do it. But yes, yeah, you did read that set of choices correctly. Dishonor or death. Yeah, those are the only options.
Damn it.
Yeah. And Virginia is like, and of course he's like, now obviously if it was me, I'd pick the latter. And I'd especially pick the latter because it's not me. Virginia is like, oh man, that sucks. Like, are those really are the only options? Like, woe is me. But yeah, Pops, you're right. Like, dishonor or death. I guess I gotta die.
This is the second time in the Canterbury Tales that we've been like, sorry, babes, it's over for you.
Yeah, it's almost like a running theme, right? And it's worth noting, like, there's like, this is probably one of the earliest poems in the Canterbury Tales, and there's some evidence that it may have like originally been intended to be part of the Legend of Good Women, and the Legend of Good Women also contains stories of women, dying rather than, lose their chastity. So, Virginius, good father that he is, chops off his daughter's head.
What?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, I don't know why I thought she was going to survive this.
No, God. Girl.
Well, I don't know. The other lady got to survive. She had to threaten to kill herself, but she didn't actually do it.
No, she does.
I didn't realize we were going to behead her.
Yeah, no, beheaded, which is like actually like both weirder and less weird than like Livy's version, where Livy's version, like he stabs her on the way to the forum outside of the shrine of Venus Cloacina, which is literally Venus of the sewer, Venus of the drain. It's like it's the temple to Venus built where the like great drain of Rome begins, and it's like one of my favorite like weird little like there's this thing where there's like a temple to Cloacina, the personified goddess of the drain, who eventually came to be associated with Venus, and like classicists are like, we don't entirely understand how this association came to be, and it's like, really, you can't figure out how like a patriarchal society might have like associated a big dirty but also purifying hole in the ground with women. Like that's, you can't,
You can't
there's
figure
this
that
is
one
where
out.
like
You can't figure out how a bunch of men started to associate a giant tunnel with a fertility goddess. No,
right, that like keeps their city clean and does an important domestic function for them, but that also, despite that, they think is kind of gross. Like, yeah, no, that's it's a mystery. It'll forever be a mystery how this might be related. But yeah, so in Chaucer's version, he chops off her head. He picks it up by the hair. The poem's actually like very explicit. Like he carries it by the hair to the court, and he's like, here you go, you trick ass bitch, like, you want my daughter, here she is.
Oh God.
Appius immediately demands that Virginius be hanged for murder and for the destruction of another man's property. But before that can happen, and this is where like we're gonna go back to like there were only two choices, before that can happen, 1,000 angry citizens storm into the court. They arrest Appius, they arrest Claudius. Which makes you wonder, like, if, I don't know, if Virginius had maybe waited 5 minutes or just, like, talked to the people who were clearly upset by the injustice of this, if maybe there was at least a third option. So Appius commits suicide in his cell, and I think that's our hopeful,
That's
like,
our happy
moment
ending
for, like, I think we all hope that as some people who like to have sex with 14-year-olds have at least putatively committed suicide in their cells, that we might see other men who like to have sex with 14-year-olds also commit suicide.
Oh my God. Reddit forum threads titled Appius didn't kill himself.
Oh, now Claudius doesn't get hanged. They're going to hang him, but Virginius, who's very merciful, instead has him banished. And then all the other like unnamed conspirators are hanged, which is also like that's the like more ending where we're like, okay, yeah, that is actually how the justice system works, isn't it? Like the guy who is actually like one of the main people driving this, he gets leniency, and then like a bunch of people whose names aren't even remembered by history get hanged. And then the thing just like abruptly ends with this like admonition on like the rewards of sin, the and just this admonition to forsaketh sin, ere sin you forsake.
Admonition on what? Like, what's the moral here?
That's right. That's the thing, right? So like both the physician's tale and the partner's tale are part of the like morality cycle. But like it is one of the most more like problematically moralizing ones because it is very like what the is the moral here, right? Like
It's the Liam Neeson movie Taken, except at the very
if he
beginning,
just
he
chopped off
finds his daughter and murders her, and then goes on a killing spree.
I have a very specific set of skills.
It's like, I will
I
find
will
her.
find my daughter and I will kill her.
Just Liam Neeson murdering a frightened co-ed in the first like 45 seconds of the movie.
So the physician finishes his tale, and this is our like transition, our like the thing that makes Fragment 6 the fragment. Harry Bailey, our host, who like those who have been following on have probably realized by now that like Harry Bailey is a bit of a prima donna. Like he is very dramatic. He's very like, oh my god, I'm so sad. This is so sad. That is that rat bastard, that poor girl and her beautiful hair. That I'm just like, I am so sad. I am so sad. I am having heart palpitations. Like you would know better than me because you're the doctor. But like, I'm not good with terminology. But I think I'm having heart palpitations. I am so sad. The only things that could make me unsad are like some good hooch and or our friend the partner telling us a funny story.
I
He's like
love a big cheerful man who manages to bring everything back around to why it's a good time for a drink.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I understand that that's a problem or whatever, but it's also very charming when you're just like, it's like, I'm so sad. We should open a bottle of wine. It's like, I'm so happy. We should open a bottle of wine. You're like, yeah.
I mean, he's a bartender. Like
Yeah.
he presumably went into that for a reason. Yeah, he's like, I need a draft of corny ale, and I need the partner to tell us something funny, and so and it is funny that he asks the partner, a presumably religious figure, to tell a funny story, right? So you may remember from the general prologue, the partner is not described in very great terms. Like he is
Right.
effeminate, he is way too blonde. It's like the show has like aged horribly, but I always think of like How I Met Your Mother and like when Barney meets Robin's dad, and he's like, "This man is blonde. Men are not blonde." Like that's the partner, right? He's effeminate. He's too blonde. He's probably the summoner. Like
Right.
everyone's got bad vibes off him, and they're very like it because they're very right to have bad vibes off him, right? And so all of the like noble people in the company are like, the hell no. Do not let that weird twink tell us some dirty story. Make him tell us something moral and upright, right?
That menacing twink.
Yeah, no, like we know what he is on about. And so the partner's like, okay, I'll tell a moral story. It's lunchtime. Let's stop for some beer and a piece of cake. And then I'll tell you a moral story. This is literally, he's like, I see the sign of an ale house. Let us stop for, likewise, he references a draft of corny ale. Like, this is what, like, we would call, like, a really, like, malty beer, right? Like,
Sure.
a very grain-forward, like, heavy, rich beer. And a piece of cake, by which he may just mean, like, a fine bread. He may mean, like, a fruit cake. Who knows? He may just be a fruitcake.
I mean,
I can say that, listeners. I'm gay. I'm a trans lesbian. I get to say things.
It's okay when I say it.
So, to recap, or maybe to cap, I don't remember if we capped in the first place, but to cap, or otherwise,
cap, recap, no cap,
on what a partner is. A partner is someone who isn't a priest. They're not ordained. They are licensed to perform a particular function. We see all sorts of like figures like this in the Middle Ages who carry various sorts of like, ecclesiastical licenses but are not priests. In the case of a partner, partners are in possession of a papal or an episcopal bull that authorizes them to pardon sins. And they travel the land and they do that for a fee. Many of them are also palmers, which palmers are people who, go to the Holy Land on pilgrimage and they bring back blessed palms and, like sell them or sell the ashes of those palms to people. Many of them are also authorized to give sermons, which was something that like you did need a license to do if you were not a priest. Like we saw that with the friar. The friar, some friars are priests, not all friars are priests. The friar in the of the Canterbury Tales is a non-ordained friar who is nonetheless licensed to give sermons.
Right.
Um,
I like to think of partners as like the payday loan of the spiritual world.
They are a little bit if you like also combine them with like the worst like door-to-door vacuum cleaner like salesman you could imagine. Because many of them also sell relics, right? Like many of them also
Yeah.
traffic in relics. So the partner is all of these things that like a partner can't be, right? He gives sermons, he has like numerous papal and episcopal bulls. He sells relics and blesses people with relics and stuff. He is also a con man. And he is like unabashedly openly a con man in a way that is just like narratively hilarious. Like the Partner's Tale does have a prologue. It also has an introduction, which like is not like common among the tales in the like the prologue is just like this sort of lead up to the tale, whereas in the introduction he's sort of talking about like the tale he is going to tell and sort of like vamping it a bit. And so like in his prologue, he talks about he's like, oh yeah, so what I do, right? How I make my money. I have all these bulls of questionable authenticity. And I come to a crowd and I imply to them that, of course, these papal bulls will not work on someone who has committed great sins, and my relics won't work on someone who has committed great sins. And of course, someone who has sins to hide, sins beyond my ability to absolve, would be afraid to come up and ask for absolution. So obviously, anyone who's not a sinner is going to come and pay my fee.
Oh my god.
He
Yeah,
also he like tricks them into like various forms of like healings and blessings. Like he's like, I have a goat's pelvis that I bought from an old Jew, and I pass it off as a relic. I have a magical mitten that like makes wheat grow. Like if you put your hand in this mitten, your grain will increase. Um, like he's so frank. He's like, I do this for money. I love money. Money is just so good. And he's like, I start my sermons, right? I start my sermons with this maxim, and this shows up all throughout. Like he repeats this Latin maxim, radix malorum est cupiditas. The root greed is the root of all evils. And by by reminding people that greed is the root of all evil, I convince people to part with their money and satisfy my greed. And the funny thing is he very blatantly is like, and I don't do this because I give a shit about damnation or salvation or the fate of anyone's soul. I do it for money. But fun fact, many people's souls have probably been saved by my sermons. Um yeah, it's
Huh. Yeah, okay. It's giving lobbyist.
yeah. There's a sort of like weird like I don't know, almost like a recuperation of the like Donatist like controversy going on here, which was like, during the period of like St. Augustine, was this like debate over like priests who had at some point been declared heretics and then return to the fold. Like, should they be allowed to practice the sacraments anymore? Or should they be like disbarred from it? This like question of like, where does the power of like sacramental authority and like sacramental grace come from? Does it come from the priest or other authorized person, or does it come from God? And there's maybe this like suggestion that
Right.
like a bad person can still lead people to salvation because that salvific grace comes from God, and that it's like this guy can be terrible and profit driven and selfish, and still like the people who hear the moral truth of his sermon that greed is the root of all evil may be saved.
Sure.
So from here he transitions into his actual tale, which is he is like, this is a sample of the type of exemplar that I use in my sermons to strike fear into people's hearts about the evil of greed and get them to give me money. That tale is The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. It is literally, I'm not joking, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre is an adaptation of The Pardoner's Tale. So if you know Treasure of the Sierra Madre, you know the like general thrust of The Pardoner's Tale. This is I've told you would not guess. Like there, without Chaucer, you don't have generations of like drunk 18, 19-year-old dudes yelling, "We don't need no stinking badges" at each other as an alternative to like talking about their emotions or kissing or whatever it is that like men are trying not to do when they're doing this weird like social dance that is just like quoting movies at each other and hitting each other in the balls. Like Chaucer built the foundation for that.
It's mostly those two things,
Yeah.
feelings and kissing. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So
well, that's a reference I didn't expect today.
yeah. So the Pardoner's Tale, like in the form that it takes, it starts with three young men who spend their time in the environs of some Italian city. I can't remember. Probably Florence. I want to say it's Florence. I reread it last night and I don't remember.
It's all right. There's
because my brain doesn't work.
Italian cities are all the same, actually.
Exactly.
You heard it here
Florence,
first.
Rome, no difference.
Yep.
We're gonna get like pipe bombs in the mail from some like angry like Milanese guy who's like, you know, how dare you say that all our cities are the same?
The Venetians are taking a hit on us as we speak.
What is Venice though, if not just like watery Florence? Like it's just like you know, plaster exteriors and red roofs. It's just wet.
Yes.
Now Sicily, all the cities are different and unique and special because I, of course, am Sicilian American. So you know, fuck all them people on the boot, but you know. So
but I am unique and different.
exactly.
Yes.
So it starts out with three young men who spend their time in the environs in Italy, gambling and drinking and whoring and all this. I know we've like talked about the Pasolini Canterbury Tales. Like more than like Pasolini obviously like revels in nudity, right? Because he was this gay man who loved the male figure, and he was like, this is a great and artistic way to get to do that.
There's a lot
that
to
the
love.
censors can't complain about. That like the way the Pardoner's Tale starts in Pasolini is so like just reveling in this. Like it is like full frontal nudity, just like at one point one of the guys turns around and it's just like the biggest dick you've ever seen, just like full frontal swinging. Like I think a friend of mine was just like traumatized by this. I was actually thinking about it the other day. I was watching the new, you know, George R. R. Martin show, A Night at the Seven Kingdoms, and they've got the like the guy talking about the man that he squired for, and he's like, he was unlike other men, and then like walks out of a cabin with just like this dick down to his knees, and it's like
Pasolini would be proud.
Chaucer, we wouldn't have this cinematic tradition.
It's true. We can thank Chaucie for so much.
So much.
So much
one day
good dick content.
They're engaging in some light rioting, you know, just a fun activity, when they find out, they hear the church bells tolling, and they go to find that a friend of theirs has recently died. Probably from some sort of like plague or pestilence, because like we're told that like 1,000 other people in the town died with him. So,
No.
they decide that they're going to get vengeance for their friend's death. And this is especially funny considering the course of the rest of the story. They're like, oh my god, our friend, we must revenge his death. They decide that they're going to get vengeance by killing death.
Okay. It's gonna be like, get vengeance. How do you get vengeance on the plague? No, on the concept of death itself.
Yes.
Good. Heard.
And like that's not even like the funniest reason why it's funny that they're like, our friend died and we must revenge him. But they're like, we're gonna kill death. So they're walking along. They ask an old man who, like, I cannot stress enough, is like obviously death to anyone who has ever read or been part of a coherent narrative. Like this is obviously just like death talking to them, and he's like, oh. They're like, do you know where we can find death so we can murder him? And he's like, oh, yeah, you know, I saw death under the old oak tree over there. But you'd be better off to forsake your wicked ways and find God.
I don't know why, but I am immediately envisioning Bugs Bunny.
This is actually like astoundingly good. Like, yeah, Bugs Bunny as death, and then it's like Yosemite Sam and Elmer Fudd and Daffy Duck as or Donald Duck, whichever duck was the original duck, as the like three.
Yes, exactly.
So, unsurprisingly, like, they do not forsake their wicked ways and find God. They are like, all right, off to the oak tree to kill death. They don't find death at the oak tree. Instead, they find just like a massive load of gold. Oh, it is florins, actually, I think, because it's gold florins that they find.
Sure.
So they find a bunch of gold florins, though also now I'm like, actually, historically, that doesn't necessarily mean it was florins, because the florin was a very strong currency used all throughout Italy. But now we're just completely into it. They're somewhere in Italy, and the money is florins.
The money is florins. The florins are gold. Bugs Bunny is wearing a wig. Carry on.
Yes, yeah. And he doesn't need a wig, right? Because he's deaf, and ostensibly this is a boy role. But, you know, it's Bugs Bunny, and he's not going to give up a chance to dress in drag.
Correct.
Yeah. So they're like, they completely forget that they have come here to kill death, because they're like, think how much hookers and blow we could buy with all this gold.
Uh-huh.
We should take this gold. But it's the middle of the day, right? Like they're like, well, we can't take the gold now. Like if someone sees us just walking off with this like metric assload of gold, they're gonna be like, these young men have stolen a bunch of gold and we're gonna get hanged. So we're gonna wait for cover of night. We're gonna draw straws. Whoever draws the short straw is gonna run back to town and buy us some snacks and some booze so that we can like pass the time until nightfall.
Uh-huh.
So what we get, and this is the like treasure of the Sierra Madre bit, is just this like murderous comedy of errors of like people betraying each other. I was also like, I was thinking about this when I was writing out my notes. Whichever of the Christopher Nolan Batmans, and I feel like for some reason I feel like this reference has actually been made in another like conversation that we have had, and I don't know why, but whichever Christopher Nolan Batman is the one with Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Uh-huh.
And there's the like opening scene where they're like, you know, robbing the bank, and like the tech guy cuts the wires on the phone lines, and then the like zipline guy is like, oh, the boss told me when we were done with that I should kill you. And then, you know, the two guys are actually like robbing the bank, like they, you know, get into the vault, and the one guy's like, oh, let me guess, the boss told you to kill me. And it's like, oh no, I killed the bus driver. And then the bus hits the guy, and it's
yeah.
So there's the two guys waiting at the tree, and they're like, you know what is actually better than splitting all this gold 3 ways? Is splitting it 2 ways.
2 ways. And we murder the snacks guy when he gets back.
He gets back with snacks, we kill him. Meanwhile, the guy who went to get nibbles is like, you know what's better than splitting the money 3 ways?
Splitting it 1 way.
Splitting it 1 way.
I should poison these snacks.
Yeah, exactly. He poisons the wine.
Oh.
But yes, you are catching on to the narrative very well. Is this what you thought you would be doing when you were getting your MFA? Just like
I'm just dumping arsenic into like a bag of Pringles.
It actually almost certainly is arsenic because it's described in the poem as being rat poison. So it probably is arsenic, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bottle of chewed buck chuck, just like
yeah. I have in the notes here, can you see where this is going? And clearly you can. So wine guy gets back to the tree, right? His friends jump on him, they stab him to death. And they're like, that was thirsty work, murdering that
oh my
guy.
god.
Let's get into this wine. So they drink the wine. They die a very painful death, a very slow death. So we're at like just like death 3, boy 0. And this proves again, right? This proves the pardoner's point. Greed is the root of all evils.
Bugs Bunny shows up at the end in a fabulous ball gown.
Which, like, I feel like the pardoner is also Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
Like it's one of those ones where Bugs Bunny is like half the characters.
It like fades out and fades back in, and Bugs Bunny is also the partner, and you're like, ha ha!
So I could also just see like the Bugs Bunny in like the Summoner's Tale, like Donald Duck is the friar reaching under Bugs Bunny's ass while he like farts into his hand.
Looney Tunes Canterbury Tales when?
Yes. So we cut back to the partner. And this is why I love the partner, right? Like he's like, yes, greed is the root of all evil. And then he like completely forgets that he had told everyone, like, by the way, I'm a con man and I am after everyone's money. He's like, greed is the root of all evil, but you don't have to worry about that. Repent, kiss my relics, pay me for pardon, give me money and I'll absolve you of your sin.
You mean you are charmed by a murderous, fast-talking twink?
My
friend? My beautiful friend Tony? No.
I love him so much. So this is actually like one of my like favorite, like most lurid, like just like hilarious lines in the Canterbury Tales. So everyone's like off, like everyone's groaning in the crowd. Harry Bailey tells the partner to fuck off so hard. What he says is, "Thou wouldst mak me kiss thine old bridge, and swear it were a relic of a saint, though it were with the fundament to paint. But be the croice with the Sant Ellen found, it would he had the columns in mine hand. Instead of relics or of sanctuary, let cut him off. It will them help. It will the help him carry. They should be shinned in an hoggist herd." So he's saying, you would make me kiss your underwear and swear it was a relic, even though it was stained by your asshole. Literally by your fundament painted. But by the cross which St. Helen found, I would rather have your testicles in my hand instead of relics or saints-like items. Let me cut them off and I'll help you carry them. They should be enshrined in a hog's turd. And like the knight has to like literally break them up and like make them like kiss and shake hands. Like Harry Bailey is like, I am gonna castrate you, you mother. Like,
you piece of shit. Oh my god, what's the don't piss on my shoes and tell me it's raining?
Yeah, and that is the partner, except for like the added step of like being like, by the way, my job is pissing on your shoes and telling you it's raining.
And you should pay me
as
for
he's
it.
pissing on your shoes.
Yes.
Like he is pointing at his dick and being like, see the piss? See the piss coming onto your shoes?
Pay me, bitch. Oh my god, you know what it reminds? The partner is, and I blame you for this because you brought the show up first, Neil Patrick Harris from How I Met Your Mother. Who we can all agree is a significantly more evil character than anybody wants to acknowledge.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, like, that man should be in prison.
Yes, that's the partner. He's the partner. Down to the fact that he is a vicious twink.
And the fact that, like, he is, like, in spite of that, like, funny and charming, right? Like,
Yes.
everyone, like, the partner is so endearing, as long as you don't think too hard about what an actual piece of shit is.
A mean-spirited con artist twink pretending to be a womanizer. That's it. We solved it. Happy Canterbury Tales.
But also Bugs Bunny.
Yes. Who is death in a wig.
Am I like the only, like, and I say this knowing full well that I'm not, but like, am I the only one who just, like, very specifically, like, Bugs Bunny as Brunhilde is just like a load bearing memory? Just like Bugs Bunny in the little, like, metal bra and, like, winged helm or horned helm or whatever.
That's in the Barber of Seville one that they did, right? Isn't it?
Think so, or yeah, I think so. And it's like Elmer Fudd as Siegfried, and like, yeah, it's
God, I love Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes was so great. Also problematic, but
Well, it problematic, but also full of the kind of references that we don't make anymore, which is a shame.
yeah, I mean, like, the whole Nimrod thing, the whole way in which, like, Nimrod became this, like, slang for idiot because of people not understanding the actual, like, weird biblical reference going on in Bugs Bunny calling Elmer Fudd Nimrod. Like,
Wait, I don't know about this.
so Nimrod in the Old Testament is like the greatest hunter ever born.
Right.
And so, like, he's, like, sarcastically calling Elmer Fudd Nimrod, but because people don't read the Bible, like, it takes on this, like,
Life of its own.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So there's a lot going on here, right?
Uh-huh.
Obviously we have that just, like, clear, like, distrust that Chaucer has for the, like, institutions of the church, and yet at the same time it is almost like, arguably in a very, like, very formulaic and very, like, straightforward way, like, you could see how, like, the partner's point might be right, like, this tale is instructive, the moral lesson of the partner's tale is clear.
Right.
Could we not read this and learn from it that we should not engage in weird three-way plots to kill our friends?
Or at least get better at identifying death when you are actively speaking with him?
Right. Like, I think like people not realizing that they're talking to death is, like, definitely a great, like, genre of narrative stupidity, right?
It's so old.
Yeah, and also probably so relatable because at the same time, like, it's always that, like, oh yeah, but we're not the ones being doomed by the narrative, right? Like, we're looking at this from the outside. Like, I'm sure if I was talking to some kindly old man at a crossroads in the middle of New Mexico flipping a silver coin who was like, yes, just go down this road, and, like, yeah, I'd be like, oh wow, what a nice old man giving me directions. Like,
Well, la dee da, madam not currently being doomed by a narrative device. Uh-huh. Yeah. I love all of the ways that we have collectively as humans thought up ways, like faces of death, just being like, I'm just a totally normal human like you.
yeah, it's but then also, like, the ones that I love are the ones where it's like, I am not a totally normal human like you, I'm a freak and you should be scared. Like, when I was getting ready to teach the horror class that I taught last semester, I, for some reason, subjected myself to watching the entire Final Destination series.
Oh.
I did not, by the way, assign a single one of them. to my students. So like, and I had no intention of it. I don't know why I did that. But so I watched the entire Final Destination series. And there's the character who's played by the guy he's the Candyman, and he's like old Jake Sisko in that one really good episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine and all of that. He's the like morgue worker who they're always going and talking to in the films, and he's like, death has rules, and these are the rules that I'm going to explain to you while we're standing next to a drawer full of dead people, and they're very ruly rules, except that they change every movie so that we can keep the series interesting, even though at the end of the day the series is just a bunch of very badly choreographed scenes of people dying in weird ways. And everyone's like, yeah, this guy, he's just a normal guy telling us death's rules. And it's like, you idiots. You absolute morons.
This casual morgue employee who knows the rules of death for some reason and is always here when we show up. Can't imagine why. Nothing ominous about that.
Yeah.
Also, if ever there were a collection of films that lent themselves less to being actually watched as a corpus like that, it's the Final Death. Like I cannot imagine movies that are probably less rewarding when you watch them all in a row like that.
Yeah, well, because one, they're narratively incoherent. Like
Uh-huh.
they have to change the rules every movie to even like justify there being a thing. But also like if you have watched one of them, you have watched all of them. I don't know why I watched all of them. It was just like I was there doing that thing where I'm like, I'm doing research while doing something that literally just wasted like 14 hours of my life that I will never get back.
I did something very similar, except it was the Sabrina the Teenage Witch reboot show that they did. And it was for part of my thesis. And every time it comes up, my roommate reminds me of when she walked into the living room, and I was like, apparently with just a look of abject depression on my face, was like, do you want to watch this with me? And she was like, not really. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't either.
Chaucer.
So Chaucer and the partner.
Yeah. So the partner, the physician, like there's I think these are like they're two very interesting tales in terms of like this like broader context of Chaucer, right? I mean, obviously like the partner's tale, it's so obvious, like we're just continuing this tradition that has just been going on through the Canterbury Tales of Chaucer being a man who presumably is devout, presumably he believes in God his whole life. Certainly the like Chaucer's redaction to the Canterbury Tales, which has been like famously argued, in which he, is the this bit we talked about in the very first episode, where like late in life he's like, please ignore all the immoral stuff in this and take away from it only the morality of it, which is actually very like the partner's tale, right? Like
Right.
he's like, I believe that we can see the what is it, like the gold within the dross, like so like there's this thing where like Chaucer presumably is a devout man, he dies presumably a devout man, but like also is like very questioning of the church and some of the shit that it's doing. Like he doesn't trust friars, and he doesn't trust pardoners, and he doesn't trust the monastic tradition. And depending on how we look at like the prioress's tale, he maybe thinks that nuns are kind of mean girls and like etc.
I mean, where's the lie on really all of those fronts?
Oh yeah. But like there's also like an element of a sort of like faith that like through all of that the good comes through, right? That the moral comes through. I think the physician's tale is interesting actually in this moment of like stepping away from the themes that have like showed up all through the Canterbury Tales and thinking about some of the themes that I don't know that Chaucer is ever like consciously thinking about as they relate to him. and his life and the like sort of context in which he lives. Because like, you know, we talked in one of the episodes, right, about the whole Cecily Champagne thing. You know, that there's
Yeah.
this for anyone who hasn't heard that episode or doesn't remember it, there was an indemnity signed by a Cecily Champagne or Champagne or whatever, you know, like this is the thing where like scholars can never even agree on how to pronounce things. Cecil Champagne signed an indemnity in the like court rolls it was discovered in like the 1830s and then started to be discussed in scholarship in like the 1870s, I believe. I may have my dates a little off there, in which she indemnifies Chaucer for like sort of any legal responsibility related, and it's the Latin term is de raptus meo, which could mean like relating to my rape. It could also
Yeah.
mean relating to my seizure, related to my abduction, related to like raptus is this like deeply complicated term that can mean anything from sort of like really any sort of unlawful taking of a thing. A few years back, a pair of scholars, it's Ewan Rogers and someone else. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up so that I'm not, you know.
A guy and another guy. Couple of guys. Couple of pals.
Yeah, we can
Couple of buddies.
edit this in post.
We'll fix it in post.
So a couple years back, you have a pair of scholars, Ewan Roger and Sebastian Sebecki, who are like, we've uncovered two new pieces of evidence, two new court documents that were previously not like known, plus one that like was known but people haven't been paying attention to it, which show that what this like whole raptus thing is actually about is not like Chaucer raping this woman or Chaucer abducting this woman. That was another theory, was that he had like abducted her so that his like nephew could marry her, which may have been less rapey but still like legally questionable. They're like, what we have discovered indicates that actually what this was a labor dispute, that they were actually on the same side in this labor dispute, and that what the raptus was basically Chaucer like illegally poaching Cecily Champagne from this other person's service when he wasn't entitled to do so, when she wasn't entitled to leave that guy's service. And I think this is fascinating, right? Because like one of the things that like feminist scholars, when this new research came out, were trying to kind of sound the alarm on, was like a lot of like scholars who just don't give a shit about feminist scholarship and like are coming from a very sort of like masculinist position. What they're going to do with this is they're going to be like, oh, Chaucer's not a rapist, man exonerated. You know, we don't need to talk about that anymore. We didn't like talking about it in the first place, and now we don't have to talk about it.
Right.
When in reality, like, there's still like a very problematic thing to be said here about like the position of women in society, right? Because at the end of the day, you take away this question of like, did Chaucer rape this woman or not? You reframe it as a labor dispute, and there still is this like big issue of like a woman who is being treated as a commodity. A
Yeah.
woman who is being treated as something that men have the right to sue each other over who she belongs to, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because, like, that's what's going on to at least some degree in the Physician's Tale.
Yeah.
Is a woman being put in a position of commodity, of an object that is being litigated who she belongs to.
And then the answer is that she ought to be destroyed rather than misallocated.
Yes, yeah, it's like this grim fucking version of like the parable of, or not the parable, of like Solomon and the baby, right?
Yes.
Like
Except that she actually dies.
yeah, right.
That the two men involved would rather see her dead than divide, than to go to the wrong person.
Yeah.
Which really says something about maternal versus paternal love, at least as we would like to present it.
Right, because of course Solomon, the whole thing there is the woman being like, nope, no, I would rather have a whole baby in the wrong mother's arms, and
Yes. That's
yeah,
just beheading our daughters. It's good. Everything is fine.
yeah. The important thing to remember is that we have progressed so much as a society. Nobody is killing women based on debates over who owns them or their honor. And if anyone is doing it, it's entirely those other people and not us. We are an enlightened society in which women have autonomy and rights and own their own bodies.
The women are safe, and so are the children.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Because we live in a society.
A good one.
The
A
best.
patriotic one.
Yep.
That's not even that's a British song, isn't it?
You can't even do fake patriotism. I think what you were reaching for is, 'cause I'm proud to be an American.
Well, at least
I know I'm free. I'm pretty sure we're going to invade Mexico this week.
Yeah, well, and I mean, Trump is really mad about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. So the natural thing to do about him being mad about
a Puerto Rican musician
is to invade
Mexico. Yes. How many times do you think Trump has met death and not realized it?
Oh, I mean, probably every time he goes to get a Big Mac. I have to say, you know how like in Sons of Anarchy, there's the like homeless woman that Jax is always running into, and if you don't know Sons of Anarchy, just like smile and nod. It's Hamlet. It's actually it's Hamlet with like sex and guns and motorcycles.
You mean the Lion King?
There's no motorcycles in the Lion King or guns.
I'm
just
saying
sex.
that Sons of Anarchy
with a lioness that is presumably his sister, given how friends work.
Sons of Anarchy is just the Lion King.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, there's this like homeless woman that Jax is always running into who like says weird shit to him, and it's like very clearly like prophetic, and like the guy who made the show is like he has like no subtlety. Like he's been like asked in interviews, he's like, what's up with the homeless woman? And he's like, oh, the homeless woman is Jesus Christ. Like, and I'm like, presumably like Trump runs into the homeless woman who is Jesus Christ every day and just like kicks her. like she's probably like full on being like, look, I have been trying for years, man. I need you to understand I am the Lord your God and you are going to hell. And he's just like, quiet, piggy, to Jesus Christ.
The White House is actually clogged with like time travelers, the ghosts from A Christmas Carol, the personifications of death, actual Jesus Christ, several angels.
Could you imagine Trump with like the ghost of Christmas? He came in. He was a big ghost. He was the biggest ghost. There's never been a bigger ghost. He told me I was the best.
It's like he can't leave a room without some kind of supernatural entity trying to make him a better person, and he just shouts and has nothing. He has no idea what's going on, and also yells at them.
Oh God,
it's good.
We're gonna get shot by SEAL Team 6. I hope you know that.
But we're gonna look good doing it. Well, anything else about Chaucer?
I think I'm good. I think we should just leave on the note of remembering that Livy and Chaucer give us hope, that lecherous old men will kill themselves.
You know, it's a thing that can be said. And if and when you meet the personification of death, hope that the narrative lets you recognize it for what it is.
Yeah, that mortuary worker is not just he doesn't just know the rules of death. They don't teach that in mortician school.
Wouldn't it be really funny if they did, though?
I don't know. I've never been a mortician. I should ask some goth girl.
All morticians are constantly waiting for a group of panicky teens to come and ask them to explain the rules of death. Like, they assured me it would happen eventually.
The Candyman's there in the Oval Office trying to explain to Donald Trump the rules of death.
Uh-huh. He's there too. All right. Well, thank you for another heartwarming jaunt through Canterbury with old Chaucie. And it was nice to hang out with you, as always.
Yes.
Do you have anything you would like to share or encourage the listeners to do, visit, purchase, experience?
Yes. Please go to college and get a humanities degree because, chat, we are so cooked. Like that's
I second the motion.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm giving conference talks and I do scholarship and I don't no one cares about it. Just please don't let the humanities die. We're in a government run by the stupidest people alive, and like we're boiling away entire rivers full of drinkable water to make the weirdest porn you've ever seen, and I'm just begging you don't even get a degree in the humanities. Just read a book. Just read a book. Just be media literate. Watch The Pit and realize that it is not a plot hole that Robbie said he always wears a helmet and we saw him not wearing a helmet. Like, realize that 50-year-old man has trauma and wants to die. Just the littlest bit of media literacy. I am begging you all.
All right, folks. You heard the lady. Well, thank you all for being here with us. It's been I missed you. I hope you missed me.
I always miss you.
We're back for February. We will be back next month. We will be continuing on the hiatus schedule for at least a while longer. So we will be doing one episode a month because that is all I have bandwidth for, because there is a small child in my life now. And they are wildly time consuming as it happens. They do not respect your priorities or your schedule. Nor should they. It's not their job.
They don't respect anything. Physical autonomy, furniture,
budgets.
They will shit on you so much.
So much. Both ends. Just. They are full of fluids.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When my daughter was like a year and a half old, she was angry and she climbed on the coffee table and shat on it. Just, like,
yeah, all right.
Zero given.
None. So thank all of you for joining us and for bearing with us as we publish a little bit less often for a while, but we really appreciate having you here, and we're excited to be back again soon. And as always, if you can, this week, this month, this pay period, consider supporting a living author, because they could really, really use the love. Oh, and dice.
Send Grace a bottle of wine. Free Palestine.
Bye.
Bye.
Didn't Read It was created, written, researched, and recorded by me, Grace Todd. Maddie Wood is our co-producer and social media maven. Our theme song is Books 2.0, written, performed, and recorded by William Albritton. Our logo was designed and illustrated by the incredibly talented Jess Versus. Special thanks to Black Iris Social Club in Richmond, Virginia. Reach out to us with questions, concerns, or academic scrutiny at didntreaditpod@gmail.com.